I've been sort of doing ease of doing business related activities with the industry for the last 7, 8 years. To an extent, before I took over as president during my past president's Kochka's time as well, I was usually in this, and we've looked at it from the technology point of view. And typically, we think of technology as what is the solution to ease of doing business. But I think, as a philosophical level, we have to acknowledge, and especially forums like this is important to say so, that doing business itself is not easy. So we have next to us, you introduced Mr. Natarajan. He's one of the examples of having worked really, really hard for 30, 40 years, and today we have the result of that. So doing business in the best of scenarios is not easy. So the one thing we want is, in an already difficult, very difficult job, you don't want to make things worse. So when we talk about ease of doing business, that is essentially what we are looking at. Secondly, we are in the world today of, in the last decade itself, of hyper competition, which means that survival of fittest has become so, you can say, distinct, that the big companies will continue to become bigger and bigger, and that's what's reflected in the stock markets, where you have 15 and 20, and the smaller guys are simply not, the size is not significant enough to exist. So then what is the ease of doing business over there? So what I'm trying to set the expectation is that merely by government doing ease of doing business, not all businesses will survive, because the atmosphere itself is not very easy. And but what there is understanding, and there is generally in the government as well. I think if you ask most industries today, in pure industry, very few people would have paid a bribe, for example, or have had to do it regularly. They might be an odd case, but it is not something that is affecting on a day to day. So that part has been reasonably. We are not at 6 feet below zero as far as that is concerned. But that's not good enough. We have to be as good as what the business operating parameters are in the rest of the country. I mean, just because the telegram took 8 days to reach in 20 years ago, today even 1 day is not good enough, right? You need things in 15 minutes and 10 minutes. So in today's context, we are still slow. If I'm not going too long, just give me 30 seconds and I'll wrap up this opening remark. We started with two facets of ease of doing business, which even came from the center. One is policy, and the other is the enabling technology to deliver ease of doing business. I think policy level, Goa is doing reasonably well. I think in IDC, especially, if you've seen the new regulations that have come, have streamlined things. Technology level, we are backing. We did create something called Goa Online, but Goa Online is only the facade. It's like the fake set that you have during a movie or whatever. It's just a facade. Inside it, at the back end, there has to be a real structure, and that is still paper-based today. There's no electronic trail of the paper moving. So once you upload something, if it is going to be printed in a paper, put in a file and sent across departments, then the purpose is not really met. And you don't need a novel solution for that. There is an e-office solution which is done by half the states, and Goa has not done it. There is no reason why Goa shouldn't do it. That is probably the next step we need to be looking at, to make things faster and have all these paperwork move faster. Will that solve all our problems? No, but that is a necessary but probably not sufficient condition. But it is certainly a necessary condition, and we are delayed in that. So if there's one thing I would say, do that. And that incidentally was our GSI's pitch during the budget as well. What do you want? We don't want any freebies. Just please start doing e-office. It takes time, but please start doing it now.